Are you thinking about moving to Dallas, Oregon, but you haven't decided if it's the right area for you? Well, you're in the right spot because in today's video, we're going to have a discussion about Dallas and we'll be talking about the good and the bad, the pros and the cons. So let's get into it. Well, if you're new to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living here in Dallas, Oregon, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be the first to learn about the current market here in the area. My name is Ryan Welty and I get calls, texts, and emails all the time from people just like you who are thinking about moving to the area. So whether you need to move in a day, a week, a month, or a year, feel free to give me a call, text, or email. I'd be happy to help you make a smooth move here to Dallas, Oregon. Well, we are walking through Dallas City Park, which is the biggest park here in Dallas. But this is a very popular park. They have a lot of things to do here. They have several picnic shelters, playgrounds for the kids. There is a river running straight through, which is really high right now due to all the rain we've been having. There's an 18-hole disc golf course. There's some barbecue pits, basketball, all sorts of things. So there are a lot of people walking around right now enjoying the dry January day we're having. But as we mentioned in today's video, we're just having a casual discussion here on some of the good and bad things about Dallas, Oregon that you should probably think about before you move here. And we are going to start off with just the location of Dallas. Now, if you look on a map, Dallas is on the west side of the Willamette Valley, on the west side of that Willamette River, just about 25 to 30 minutes outside of Salem, Oregon. Now, depending on what you do for work, or maybe if you're retired, this can be a really nice location or kind of a headache of a location. Now, Dallas is fairly central between Salem to the east, Corvallis to the south, and McMinnville to the north. So if you work in any of those three cities, it is a fairly good commuting town, just because you have pretty easy and direct access to any of those. If you're working in Portland, then you could have a little bit more of a tough time getting there, just because you're not on I-5, so it's a little harder to get to Portland. But of course, it all depends on your unique circumstance. The one downfall of being here on the west side of the Willamette River is you are off of I-5. The only way to get back to it is to go over to Salem or to Albany or to the Newburgh area, and then you can get back on I-5 in either of those locations. But there's not many bridges that cross the Willamette River to get you back over. So if you're not going onto one of those, there are a few ferries, but overall it can just be a little inconvenient to commute to Portland. If you're going to maybe the Hillsborough area, it's not quite as bad because you're already on that side of the river. But you really want to take in consideration where you're working before you're moving to Dallas, Oregon. Now, location of Dallas is not all bad. It is a little bit closer to the beach, to Lincoln City, than Salem or other areas in the valley are. And you're only about an hour to 45 minutes away, depending on where exactly you are in Dallas. You have to commute a little bit back to Highway 22 to get there, but overall it is a pretty quick trip to get to the coast. This area of Dallas is really close to a lot of recreation activities like going to the beach and spend the day on the sand or doing hikes in the coastal mountain range. It's also in the middle of wine country, so there's several vineyards right here close to Dallas. I don't think there's any in actual Dallas, but there are right next to Dallas. There are quite a few. I'm thinking of Breckenridge and Van Duzer vineyards are both really nice vineyards that are within 10-20 minutes of Dallas. So you might want to check some of those out if you're into the wine scene. There are also several golf courses close to Dallas, none right in Dallas, but within a few minutes drive you can get there. If you are into mountain biking, Dallas is a good spot for that because it's really close to Black Rock, which is a privately owned mountain biking park where they have lots of wood ramps and tons of trails. Lots of crazy drops that I myself would never go off of, but their easy trail is a lot of fun, and a lot of pros and amateurs go there to test their skills on some of those more gnarly trails up there at Black Rock. If you're looking for something a little tamer, there is the Basket Slough, which has about 5 miles of hiking trails. But the main point of that area is actually a wildlife reclamation area and a lot of bird watching. So if you're into bird watching, that's what they upkeep the whole area for, is to get migratory birds areas to land. Well, one of the main reasons people are moving to Dallas is because of the small town feel it has, and it really is a great alternative to living in Salem. A lot of people move to the area to work in Salem, but they don't really want to live there. And whether that be because politics or it's just too busy of a city and they want a little bit calmer, slower of an area to live in, and then Dallas is a really great alternative. Again, about 10% of the population of Salem, so it's a lot smaller of a city. With that, you definitely get some sacrifices. There's not as many conveniences here in Dallas. There are, of course, the necessary like grocery stores, a hardware store, and like an outdoor farming store. But if you're looking for luxury, you do not want to come to Dallas because they simply don't have a lot of those higher end options, even higher end dining or restaurants. There really just aren't things like that here in Dallas. So it is a trade-off for what you get here, but if you're looking for a little bit of a smaller town feel, Dallas can be a great option for you. So depending on what kind of a community you want to live in, whether it's the more fast-paced Salem, which, trust me, is not that fast-paced, especially when you compare it to like Portland or other cities in the metro area up north. But Dallas does have a little bit more homey feel, a little more down-to-earth people here, and a little bit of a slower pace of life. Another drawback of how big the city is, though, is that there's not a lot of job opportunity here. There is a little bit of an industrial area in Dallas, but it's not huge. So there's not a huge job market here. So a lot of the people that are moving to Dallas aren't actually working here. They're still commuting out to either Salem, Corvallis, Albany, or north to McMinnville. So depending on if you want to work where you live, Dallas might not be the great option for you. But if you can snag a job here in Dallas before you move here, then that's always a great option to go through. And then I just want to finish up our talk talking about the community growth that we've seen here, and then a little bit about the real estate market, and they kind of go hand in hand. The population growth here in Dallas has been increasing fairly steadily over the past 10 or 20 years. And this is really because of the community feel here, like we've talked about. And people are just moving here from all over the place. And this is really evident when you look at the real estate market. So in Dallas right now, there's anywhere between 60 to 80 homes for sale on the market on average at any one time. And about 35% of these houses are new construction. And most of them are by one company, Fowler Homes, but there are a few other smaller companies mixed in there that are putting houses out. But seeing all the new construction is a pretty good indicator of how well Dallas is doing, as the home builders are only going to build where they think there is a demand for new houses. So I really do expect Dallas to continue to grow in popularity and in population over the years to come. But of course, no one knows the future, but it's usually a pretty safe bet if there are such big developments of new houses going in the area. And then kind of hand in hand with this is our final topic, which is just the general real estate market here in Dallas. Now, back in the day, people used to flee from Salem and go to these smaller towns in order to find houses that are cheaper and more affordable. So you used to be able to just drive farther away from Salem, and then you would be able to afford a bigger house, or maybe afford even a house. But that really isn't the case anymore, as it has become more and more popular to live in these small communities, and people are kind of fleeing the cities. So all these suburbs and small towns around Salem are actually about the same price to even sometimes slightly more expensive than Salem. So that is the same case with Dallas, and if you move here, you're going to find home prices that are pretty much the same as Salem. Now, if you look at like monthly statistical data, it does vary a little bit more than Salem does, but that's just because Salem's market is so much bigger. So currently, the average price point for a house in Dallas is $425,000. Of course, there are lots of houses more expensive and cheaper than this. This is just what is the typical sale price in Dallas. And your price per square foot generally hovers around $270 per square foot. And this really does vary greatly depending on the size of the house, as the bigger houses tend to have cheaper price per square foot, and the smaller houses generally have a higher price per square foot. But it is still a good number to kind of start out at, depending on what price point you're looking in. If you want to get a better idea of what is available on the market right now in Dallas and just in general, check out my last video, which was a vlog tour in Dallas where we looked at a few houses in the area. And that really should give you a better idea of what you can find here in Dallas, Oregon. Well, if you have any more questions about Dallas, Oregon, or the surrounding area, feel free to drop those in the comments or send me an email. I'd be happy to help you out any way I can. But for now, I hope you have a great day, and I hope to show you around town.